Hi, welcome to the Quilt Report. Well, here's what's going on. I said I was not going to talk about Calvin Klein anymore, but I saw an ad recently for his $3,500 ladies coat made out of a cut-up Ocean Waves quilt. It's on clearance right now. You can go on their website and buy it for $2,400. I posted this on my website, and some people told me that it was not even a cut-up old quilt, like it obviously is. It was something made in Italy to be resembling an old quilt. I did some research on this, and here's what I found out. That Rafe Simons, the Belgian designer that took over at Calvin Klein, did this. Instead of going with expensive G's Bend quilts that they wanted to cut up, the brand sourced handmade vintage quilts from all over the country through auctions, private collections, and antique shows like Brimfield. They found hundreds of pieces, some of which were then dismantled and used for parkas and coats, which means that each parka sold will be one of a kind with an authentic vintage liner made of a quilt. Some quilts were embroidered with phrases like "conceived in New York City," "designed in America." It's quite an honor. Well, it's a complicated subject. Calvin Klein has the right to buy old quilts and cut them up. But what bugs me is this. This writer here says, what could be more deeply American, more symbolic, more steeped in history than quilts? I agree. Hand-sewn quilts are uniquely special, individual pieces of Americana, that's all true, traditionally made from scraps of leftover or old cloth. Utilitarian to their core. Utilitarian to their core. They weren't intended to be nice to look at. They were made by these hardy pioneer women that we've all heard about that saved every precious scrap of fabric and then cut them up into thousands of pieces and sewed them together laboriously over a period of months because they were cold. These women were so cold that they made quilts. This idea, which is not true, obviously, quilts were made as early quilts were made as imitations of luxurious European-style quilts. But it got me thinking that there is mythologies about quilts, and it's so condescending. Some of the things that writers say, like this woman Lily Goxon in her September 19th, 2017 article in GQ, says things like this. Let's hope Rafe Simons continues to masterfully reframe and recontextualize American history, quilts and all, to carry us into the great big unknown future. Yeah, a designer at Calvin Klein is going to carry us into the great big... You know who's recontextualizing quilts? Quilters. That's who. There's millions of people, mostly women, some men, making quilts today, right now. Right while you're watching this video, some people are sewing quilts together. They're making quilts. They're recontextualizing them. They're carrying us into the great big unknown future. Well, this subject obviously gets me kind of worked up. And so I thought what I would do is I'm going to make a series of videos talking about the history of quilts, how they actually got started. The brilliance of the quilt tradition invented by 19th century American women. Not quilting itself, which is done all over the world and has been for thousands of years, but the American style of quilt making that got invented by women in the 19th century here. The glorious invention that that thing was and how it has carried through to today. And about the many, many people who are doing so many great things with quilts today that only you and I know about. So I'm going to make a series of videos about that. I'm not going to talk about Calvin Klein anymore. I'm just going to be talking about quilts in the next few quilt reports. So I hope you come back. Thanks for stopping by and letting me get carried away. This is Joe. I'll see you again.